So I know you guys are at varying levels. I wanted to share with you a couple of neat blues I have. I mean, phthalo blue, of course, is the classic blue that you'll want to use with this. But I have this really gorgeous blue called light ultramarine. It's made by Golden, and I quite like having it in the mix just because there's like some light parts.
Looks like some purple and white in it.
It's almost, well, you know, ultramarine, yeah, like it's almost like a purple. Yeah, because ultramarine blue is a warmer blue, right? It's got more red in it. So in the lighter versions, excuse me. This is a turquoise deep.
I like that.
It's neat. I've got a cobalt teal, which is, so these may or may not be exactly the colors. But you know how I feel about this. I feel like we should be loose and flexible. I'm just putting out all my fun blues because,
but
right?
Did you say that second thing is a turquoise?
It's called turquoise deep. It's a Liquitex.
Oh,
I have about 5 turquoises. You'll see, you have to add white to it to really see it, you know, to really show it off.
So my question to Julia is, yes, ultramarine light, why don't you just use ultramarine and mix in white?
It's a different, I get it, I never quite get this hue. There's other things going on in here. I'd have to look at the mix to tell. It's a good question. I'd have to look at the actual mix to tell you. So let's see. I've got this. Let me go find my ultramarine blue, and we'll look at what the pigments are. But I have a feeling it's more than just white and blue.
It looks like it would be.
I think it's got a little bit. I think it might be a different like blend of pigments. Hold on. Let me get my ultramarine blue. It's yellow ochre. So let's see.
My Peacock, Leah.
What's that?
I sent my Peacock.
Oh yes, take a look at what Sandra did last week. Really, it's amazing. Oh, so good. Why am I not? There we go. Here. So when I look at these two. Oh, where's the listing?
Oh, Sandra.
Doesn't that look nice?
Oh, it's going to be beautiful.
It's promising, but we'll see whether it turns out.
Yeah, it is.
I just don't know. I don't think it's just white would be my guess, Diana, because I don't get this color when I mix blue with white.
Leah, I've got in watercolor, I also have ultramarine deep and ultramarine light, and the light is just got more purple in it. And then they have the third thing called lavender, which this almost looks like, and it looks like that plus white.
Right. So I think it's like a different combo of things.
Yes, it's got more red in it.
Exactly. So I've got, totally, I have no green on here. So I would lay out every blue you guys have on your palette just to see what blues might be helpful here. I'm grabbing Viridian Green. Am I grabbing Viridian Green? I can find there it is. I'm grabbing my Viridian Green. Because I have Viridian Green, I'm going to add just a little bit of red to my palette. I happen to have cadmium, so that's what's going in. And what other colors will I need here?
Prussian blue.
Yeah, I agree. And I actually also have Payne's Gray. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't actually know if I have any Prussian blue right now, but I definitely have Payne's Gray. So I'm going to pop that on. So put whatever blues you've got. And also, what else? Besides green.
Burnt umber.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Why, Diana? Excellent. Why
Yeah,
do we need it?
because you need that to define, and you also have it in the background.
Yeah, and it's to make our darks, right?
Yeah.
To make our darks.
Yeah.
It's really key. Burnt umber goes into almost, and ultramarine blue, quite honestly, go into almost every painting because it's the best way to mix your darks.
It absolutely is.
Right? Burnt umber and ultramarine blue. Although you can also do a number of other things. You can do viridian green and alizarin crimson. You can do there, you can mix any complement together to make a dark, but this is the dark that I have found that over and over I really like the best, particularly for natural subjects. Here, sorry, my thing is doing. So I'm going to throw a little bit of burnt umber on there, and then I think I need a little yellow too. So I'm just going to grab the first yellow I see. Naples yellow?
Oh yeah,
no.
Naples yellow.
If you've got Naples, put it down. A lot of people don't. I'm just grabbing.
I just discovered it recently after you used it once of one of the classes, and I love it.
Isn't it fantastic? It's
It's
cool. Yeah, I
great.
agree. I definitely think Naples yellow should be included. And sorry, you can't really see my red here, but it's also, there we go. Here.
I'm gonna send you where I'm at.
Yes.
I'm not sure I'm putting up colors because I'm so distracted, but
Do what you, oh, it's coming along great, Diana. Oh my gosh, looks fantastic. It looks great. So
It does look fantastic, Diana.
it just really, this from the beginning has really had juice. So it's been reading really well. I love the way that your sister is kind of leaning into the pups. Now I can understand your German Shepherd fixation.
What
You see it has
a gorgeous
deep
little
roots.
girl.
Right. Yeah. Forever little.
yeah, forever little.
Forever little. And not forgotten. All right. So I'm going to start with this birdie here. I've already glazed, and I'll probably pull a little blue and a touch of, if you want to see, and a touch of white in, see what happens. It's not bad. I'm going to add a touch of red in there, cadmium red, which I'm hoping will function like an orange. That's not too bad either. Sandra, if you want to see how, so one of the things I'm doing is testing, here's what my turquoise deep looks like.
Oh,
Isn't that pretty?
when are you at white?
When I add white, look at that.
Oh, it's
You
gorgeous.
really can't see it. I have about 8 turquoises. It's kind of ridiculous.
I have several too.
Right? I mean, they're kind of an obsession. So I'm taking some blue and a little bit of white, and I'm just coming in. And actually, I just found I'm mixing. I don't think I'm using the right brush. Hang on. I'm using my favorite watercolor brush, which is really not. I think I want a brush that's a little bit more ragged. I don't want it to be huge, but I definitely want it. And I'm also using a lot less water and a lot more just straight paint, because I don't want these layers to be watery. They'll drip off. Right. I'm probably gonna come. Up here. I know this is whiter, but we want the darker layer underneath. So a little bit of lighter here. A little bit of lighter. So you can see I'm kind of laying in the colors as I see them. And now I'm going to take, I think, Payne's gray and a touch of burnt umber. to mix in the shadows. You can use Prussian blue, but I'm adding a little bit of brown to my blue to get this nice dark color. And while things are still light, look at how I'm kind of blending that into the edge. Edges of my blue paint, which is still a little wet. I'm gonna go in and take some of that. Now, because I'm working in acrylic, I don't have to worry about that little reflected edge of the eye yet, right? I can add it in later. And observe, it's not just kind of the eye that's dark, but it's kind of dark around the top. And then there's a little light edge, and then it's kind of dark around the bottom. So I'm just sort of lightly layering and with kind of a bigger brush so I don't get too precious. Right, because it's easy to get overwhelmed by details. So one of my ways I stop worrying, letting myself get overwhelmed by detail is by literally using a big brush that's so big, I can't really control it. Can you see how like stuff's kind of popping up and around? Let's see, there's a little bit up here. Got some down here, and then I'm gonna blend in. No, I might go lighter layer, but I'm not really gonna know. I'm gonna lay these first layers down. I'm not really gonna know until I get my background in, kind of what my final birdie colors are gonna be. I'm also noticing as I'm sketching this in that I had a slight misshape to my birdie. I had the neck kind of curving a little bit too much. I don't know if you can see this little red edge that's here. So I'm trying to correct that with my paint, right? His head kind of sticks out a little bit. Now maybe I've done it too much. Well, we'll see.
It was me sometimes.
And then I think I'm going to take a slightly smaller brush. Still a flat, not a teeny tiny, but like something like this. A small flat. And I'm going to take some white. And I want to make sure my brush isn't too wet. So then I'm going to try and sort of start to sketch in these whites. Am I going to get them in exactly the right places? Maybe. I might have to go over with another layer. See how I'm kind of thinning out this dark line that I left in. And then there's a little bit more white here, but it's kind of more grayish. It goes to like a 2. So I'm going to actually take a tiny bit of that dark that I mixed and add it to the light. And I'm going to actually add a little bit more blue. Actually, the glaze that I put in kind of is muting a lot of the excitement. I'm going to have to pretty quickly, I think even before I do any detail, more detail on the bird, at this point, I feel like I need to get some background in. Otherwise, I can't really see. But you see how already the bird is kind of going. So actually what I'm going to do is stop right now. I'm going to take a picture so you guys can see it up close. And then.
Leah?
Yeah.
By background,
Do you mean the back feathers or
Yeah,
behind?
what's behind the bird?
Nothing.
There's a lot behind the bird. Right now, it's just
But
blue.
only the feathers. I mean, out behind the feathers, there's like a.
Okay, but
grayish
you're getting too, okay, so that's a good question. So I can see all of this is background.
Okay, that's what
Right.
I meant. I meant,
Yeah,
did you
yeah,
mean
yeah.
that or did you mean
Yeah,
the beige?
no, I'm not gonna get too
the
much in the
feathers?
background. I'm probably gonna do, it's a good question. I'm probably gonna do more of the green and blend in. Now you can't do that, right? Because you're working in watercolor. So you may want to preserve, let's see, for you, you may want to go lighter around the, right, sort of preserve the lights and add stuff in gradually.
But I was wondering is that, and in your case, I guess it doesn't matter too much, but whether there has to be a background color behind the feathers, the background
Well,
feathers.
yeah, I think so. And I think what I'm really feeling right now is that my colors won't come forward until I get a background, until I get some sort of background coloring. So actually, it's a good question, Sandra, because it's not like super obvious, right? It could be a lot of different things. So I am going to, so the question is to go kind of whether lighter or darker, right? Which is what you're asking, right? Like, how do you start to add your background in? I'm going to start by mixing a green with a touch of red and a little bit of maybe yellow. But it may be, and I'm going to mix kind of two versions, a darker green. You guys can't really see this here. Hold on. There we go. I'm mixing kind of a couple different greens in here. I kind of want a green. They all have a little bit of red in them. I'm lightening them, one with yellow. I just want to, let's see what happens when I add in. Sort of light green versus a darker green. But of course, Sandra's dilemma, because she's working with watercolor, is yours would be whiter. So I think, Sandra, the difference is that you would be leaving this whiter. So your peacock would automatically pop out. You know what I'm saying?
I guess, may I show you, Leah?
Yeah.
I guess what I meant was there's a color behind the feathers. I was thinking of just making the whole thing like very pale green.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's actually not a bad idea at all. Now,
Okay.
Let me try it. I like your idea that much. I'm going to try it myself. So see, I'm trying a few different colors to see which I like better. I want my bird to pop out, and it's not really popping out right now. So what do you guys think? Which do you think? It's got to be kind of greenish. Here's kind of a minty green. Here's a super dark green. Here's kind of a yellowy green.
I think I put like but I don't know what is the right color. A green with some, it's a green that has some brown in it. It's a green that has like, not burnt umber, but like an ochre in it. Like a yellowish green, but darker.
That's cool. I mean, I think, Sandra, you have options, right? We don't have to do exactly what's going on back there. We just have to get kind of the gist of it, right? Like the sort of general color, and then we can lay other colors in or around. So if you're working in one, it's a good question to ask. Such a great question. If you're asking, and you can see I'm kind of fiddling around, I might wind up doing a sort of wash of different greens. Do you see how I'm kind of blending? I have like 3 different greens here, and I'm kind of blending them a little lighter here. And I might go a little darker up here. See how what I want to do is just make my bird head pop forward a little bit. And right now my background is blue because I glazed it, so I'm not getting that pop that I want. I think I like things a little bit. So I would say play with kind of a funny green, and I'm going around the feathers, right? Those round feathers right now. But I think my proposal is to just kind of do if you're working in acrylic, is to do a kind of soft greenish, or maybe you can do a pale background if you want to, maybe a creamy white background upon which we blend things. I want you guys to sort of see what you like. I tend to like crazy backgrounds like this because I feel like they're really easy to lay stuff on top of, which really says a lot about the kind of painter I am, which is not really a planner. Just like, all right, let's get in there and figure it out. All right, here. I'm gonna send this, but so here's where this is, right? This is where I'm looking, and now I'm kind of playing around. Maybe everything is a little bit lighter over here, more minty white. And then I'm going around the feathers right now. It gets a little darker. Yeah, Anik, interest. Yes, yes, coming along. So is that, did you do that little pink color, or are you just starting to, you could also totally lay out like, the other option is to take like a little Naples yellow, not the other option. One of the options is to take a little Naples yellow. And
I was thinking the Naples yellow and a bit of green.
And a bit of green, why not, right? Which is essentially what I'm now kind of winding up doing by blending in more Naples yellow over, right? So it's lighter. It's definitely darker on this side because there's just more feather conjunction. Annika's moving this week, isn't she? Is that why we're not seeing her?
Yes.
Correctly.
Yes,
She's
she
moving.
said something like
Can't
that.
wait to see all the pictures of the place where she's staying.
No, but I'm so glad we did the pickup with you.
Yeah, me too. Well, it does sound like she's left marching orders on that.
No, I don't trust humans.
I can't think why. You trust us though, right? We're humans.
Yes.
Enough. She says, but not as much as I trust the cats. I'm kind of skipping over the feathers back here. This sort of his little tail, the sort of solidy tail. I'm really just literally trying to get some color in this blue. As I glaze, I might glaze a different color next time because I feel like the blue kind of left a disappointing feeling. So I'm working around the feathers right now, the pretty feathers. Hermes, stop that. Give me just a second. But I do like how this kind of cooler color is in the background. I can always put in lighter colors later, and I like it getting a little bit darker. You can also, of course, add a blue in your green to make it a little bit darker. It's kind of muddy, but I don't mind that. Oops. Not taking me anywhere. That might be a little too extreme. I want it to be slightly smooth, so I may just bring that over a little bit. You see, this is a very blended layer. A bit of water. I'm using a pretty big brush. Now, has anybody gotten to painting this yet? I guess you did a little bit, Ani, right?
The background, not yet.
No, the back feathers, the back feathers.
Back feathers, yeah, a little bit with Naples yellow because I
Okay,
wanted
so you
to
started
kind
adding
of-
your lights in with Naples yellow.
Yes.
That's not too bad a job. So yeah, there's kind of like, if you look up close, here, I'm gonna send this over. There is like 3 or 4 colors in the feathers. There's like this Naples, this cool yellow. So if you don't have Naples yellow, you might just put a little bit of white and yellow together. The Naples is really perfect for this. And then there's kind of this orangey color, which might be cadmium red with a touch of green and white. Might try that. And then there's little bits of blue and green and then a very dark outline. So I would start by laying like Ani did. I'm going to go back to a smaller brush. I'm going to go back to my kind of smaller brush and start with a little bit of Naples yellow and white. I'm going to start brushing in the shapes. I'm not going to do I'm going to probably start with just 1 or 2 layers because I want these to stay. And then here. See how I'm kind of moving around the whole thing? I'm going to do these first layers, then I'm going to try and get a little bit of that pinky orangey goodness. See if I can get it. Using the colors I said. Yeah, that's not too bad. And now I'm brushing in a little bit of that red, and I'm kind of blending it a touch with the edge. Right, and then I'm going to take my green, maybe add a little turquoise to it. Kind of brush it in a few, like here. So I'm actually really paying a bit of attention, and I'm going to do that all the way across. So let me send you a picture of this, and it's going to take a while. So let me send you. How's it going, Geraldine, with your drawing? Going okay? I can immediately see I want it to be kind of darker around the edge here. Ultimately, there is a dark line we're going to add in, contour line, but I'm just darkening here. I'm doing this 1 row at a time so I don't get too overwhelmed or lost. I mean, that's okay. That's just part of the process. I'm kind of going in and retouching up here. And then just here. Here. And try to pay attention, because in your drawing, we paid a little attention to this, right? To where things actually are. Not in, remember, let's avoid the little soldiers. No little soldiers. People in the video be like, what is she talking about? Little soldiers, don't understand. All right, and then I'm adding in. So I'm going from yellow to green, yellow to red, that kind of light red, to green. It's a process. If you want to, at this point, you could take a little pointy brush like this, a really teeny tiny one. And with like, I don't know, Payne's Gray and ultramarine, Payne's Gray and burnt umber. You could go around the edges. Remember that in not all cases do we see, if it helps you, right, to kind of see. So in this case, the line kind of disappears as it goes down into the feather, but over here on this side, it's pretty strong. So if that helps you kind of track as you're laying down the bigger colors, you should do it. You can see my line is too thick. So I'm going to lay down the second layer. And then I'm going to do a little blending with my other colors. You see, I can kind of go back and forth. So Geraldine, you're going to see that you're to do the work, really do the work on the drawing. You're going to pay attention to these guys here.
You know, it's funny, Leah, when I first looked at all these feathers, you know, I was thinking, oh, it's going to be so difficult, with these little feathers. And I think that's the left brain thinking, oh, this is horrible. Don't
exactly.
Do it.
Well,
but now,
it's just, yeah.
My right brain is getting lost into it with pleasure.
Right, exactly. Like I'll never say it's super easy. You just described it. Getting lost in pleasure. That's exactly it. When you know how to start, I think it's really just a matter of knowing how to start, right?
I think it's just switching the brain, right? Because the other one, oh,
right, and it goes into it before you've even started, right? Like we don't really even have to think about all of that for the first couple layers until we get things down. Yeah, it is really and the more you spend going into right brain, it really is like exercise, right? Like the more you spend doing it, the easier it'll be to get into it.
Yes, I can.
It's like the easier it is, but it doesn't mean it's easy. Listen, I work out every day, like I said, in the morning at 6:30. I'm not going to say that half the time when I get up, I don't. I'm going to admit right here that more than half the time when I get up, I have no interest in working out at all. like at all. So but I know that once I get myself there, I'll want to do it. You know, I know that. So you can see here, by the way, I'm kind of going back in and thinning out this line just a little bit. Getting a little bit lighter. Okay, I'm going to go into the next layer. Let's see, we've got. We can. He's super loud and happy. Yeah, super happy. Tweet, 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 tweet. Tweet, tweet. if you don't get the colors exactly the same, don't worry about it. Just do your best. Work with what you got. You're also going to be working with the colors that you love. You can keep your hand here too, or you can just remember it's easy to get lost, and it's okay if you get lost. Just give yourself the moment, because I just did. I'm like, so now I'm giving myself this chance to catch up again. Oh yes, these are all stacked up. Yeah, if everything was like super easy, how boring would that be? If you want to, it just occurred to me, it might be easier to go down. So now I'm doing my guys. Let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Six. Yeah, I'm actually finding it easier to go down.
Leah,
Yeah.
what have you added on the left side of that green? It's a bit darker than the one on the right side.
I just did green and red.
Okay.
So no yellow or white or anything like that, just green and red. So it still looks a little muddy, but that's okay, right? Because I want my colors to be. Good questions, guys. A little bit. Notice as we go further down, it gets darker. Further down the feather chain here. These start to get, the red starts to get like more like that. Same thing here. Let's see. So, easy to get lost. Just if you get lost, just take a minute, take a deep breath, and find it again. Count. Do whatever you have to do. I notice as I'm coming down, my feathers are getting darker as I go down the row, down the column, now down the column. All right, and then I can go back in here and kind of shape those out. It's a lot of like, gosh, I didn't think I was going to spend so much time on it, but it is fun. You're right, Sandra. It's like total rabbit hole fun.
This is where the meditation comes in.
Right? You get kind of focused. So instead of, oh, Anik, that's like, I love that background. And look what it's doing for your blues in the front. I think Anik's just going to take over teaching this class. She's farther along than I am.
Nope. Nope. I
Come
wouldn't
on,
dare.
sure. Come on, come on.
I had my share of teaching. It's not about
Yeah,
this.
I
It's
bet.
company news, and I start on Tuesday. So honestly saying no. Sorry.
Oh, I have some fun. News for you guys. This is quite exciting. Happened today. I've been talking with Joyce, who does all of the mental health programming. So as usual, we're gonna do a show in October and a video and probably some classes and a party. One of our reporters at Reuters, dad is a Pulitzer Prize winning political cartoonist. And he said he wants to teach a class.
Wow.
So I think I'm
wow.
gonna have him like teach a class during Mental Health Week. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or I might just have him do a demo and question and answer. We'll see. I'm gonna talk to him about it. I want to know
no, I think that
realistic.
would be more fun. I mean, if he can do it.
Right. Yeah. It depends on like how much experience he is at actually taking, you know what I mean? Like taking people.
Well,
at-
but
right. But I
mean,
think it would
it's
be
not
really
perfect.
fun. Won't that be neat?
That will be really fun, I think.
Well,
I mean,
don't you think?
it's a special kind of art, and
It is.
Yeah.
And he's interested. He thinks he would have a good time doing it. And I'm like, okay. So I'm
but
going to talk to him about
will he
it.
be just a one-timer?
Just a one-timer.
Well,
for
you can
now.
start a batch. Maybe you want to do more.
Just a one-timer for now.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll bring him in next year. I'm pretty
Yeah.
much booked out for the year. And I think you guys, I think my teachers are booked out in a very particular way, right? I want, in terms of skill level and getting everybody like kind of on the same page. But yeah, if it goes well, I'll totally do more. And he likes it and everybody likes it. But I thought, isn't that a neat thing to do for
No, it's really cool.
Mental Health Week?
I don't know if she has time. I have a friend who's political cartoonist that worked for the New Yorker and for Washington Post, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But she teaches writing now, but she still does cartoons, but she's really fun and really simplified. So I think she would be a fun teacher, and she teaches at USC.
Yeah. So, well,
Yeah.
let's talk to her about it. I mean, like I said, we're pretty much.
Let's start with this. It's fun.
Start with this. Isn't that open up a whole new avenue?
Yeah,
I
it's
thought that
cool.
was really neat. I'm thinking I might schedule him on a weekend so everyone can kind of, as many people as possible can kind of experience that. But yeah, I was really stoked. I'm like, oh, that's great. What a great
That's
idea.
fantastic.
Yeah, so it's a whole new line for us. I mean, we have Lorelei, who's going to be teaching caricature drawing October through December. And I think that's a good step towards being able to do political cartooning, right? You have to learn how to caricature first and then. So I'm excited. Yeah, I'm totally excited. I think it's going to be really great. I think it's going to be great. I was kind of thinking I wanted to do something a little bit different class-wise this year. And then, yeah, Janet brought that to my attention. And I like that because I just feel like it's up our alley,
Completely.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of kind of one-off classes for different newsrooms. Recently, I did one for CPI, which is a kind of investigative arm in DC, think tanky type thing. And then I
Do you contact them or do they contact you?
They contact me.
Wow.
And I did a bunch of sort of circuit work. I did a bunch of journalism conferences about 5 years ago. And so I have a lot of contacts from that time who kind of continually come back to me to teach. So I taught at workshops for a while and
art, you mean?
Yes.
Art.
Yeah, art. Exactly what I'm doing with you guys. And the other one that I do a lot of work for is Pointer, the Pointer Institute. They have a fellowship program where they take working journalists to work for a year or two, a year together, and to improve their work and have a chance. And I usually come in at the beginning and then at the end as kind of the beginning of their fellowship program for an hour. So I'll tell you, I was kind of blown. I came in early to the set. I often get to hear what they're talking about. So the Pointer people, there was a journalist she's a TV journalist from Texas. And she was she was talking about how she was really upset. So they all have to share ideas about how to make their reporting better and deeper. And her idea was to create a calendar of anniversaries, because she felt like they did too much coverage of people like who were missing or disappeared. Not great anniversaries, like this kid's still missing, or this happened, or do you know what I mean? Like, she was like, we write about them and then we forget about them. So she wanted to create a calendar to remember them. And she's sobbing as she's telling this story, because it's all based on this one kid, that little boy who was stolen, little sort of 11 or 12-year-old who was stolen from his bed one night. And basically he was killed. But they didn't find that out for a while, and she had to keep going back to that story. So as she's telling us what she's doing, she's sobbing. And she's like, every time everybody starts crying, I'm crying, everyone's crying. But I thought, boy, there's really a lot of journalists working really hard to try and do the right thing, and it's so stressful. It's just so, I don't have to tell you guys, it just is reinforced to me as I keep meeting more and more members of the journalism public, how hard it is. Like, it's just so dang, it's kind of relentless. So I was just thinking how much people need a break, something. One of then the next guy to present was, he had kind of written a whole manual on how to write about the homeless, which was really good, right? Like, and what are the mistakes journalists consistently make? And here's a kind of resource for how to talk about it, what to refer to, what do people mean when they say houseless, but why is that important, yada, yada.
So I have a question there. Was that also instructions how to approach and talk to homeless?
No, well, yes, that too. It was everything.
Yeah, because we
everything.
we have one of those manuals, but I would be really interested.
Do you want me to find out? I'll ask. It was somebody, I can't remember if he worked for Street Roots or he was just a journalist at a regular paper, but I will find out. It was a great resource. I know. I just sat and listened to like 3 of their presentations, and I was like, I'll get that over to you. Yeah.
Because a lot of injuries to journalists are happening while reporting on homeless, because they don't know how to be respectful to the homeless.
Right. Yeah. That's really a lot of what it is. And like the other thing is, like in Portland right now, there is a serial killer running around killing homeless people. Killing homeless people.
This happened in LA for a while.
Yeah. And people do not, and nobody gets to, like, I don't know, the 5th or 6th homeless person. So it's really, when you talk to a homeless advocate, but I've never heard any of the news, I have seen the news media talk about it. They are talking about the person who was killing homeless people, who seems to be driving up in his truck and just shooting them and leaving. But no one's phrasing it like, this is a serial killer, right? Somebody who kills more than once, who stakes out a certain kind of person and like kills them. And I was talking to this friend who's a homeless advocate, and she's like, well, these are the kinds of things I'm talking to my people about. And I thought, we have to like start thinking about this idea. It was interesting. There's a lot of really good ideas. I like what Pointer is doing. I feel like they're trying to help give people a framework for deepening their work that works kind of intuitively with how they already work. So I just come in as like their, icebreaker. I don't know. Here, let's try something totally different. They used to give me 10 minutes. Now it's like an hour. Now it's like, it gets longer and longer each time, because I'm like, oh my God, people are like, I just so desperately need this. So it's interesting. It's an interesting I mean, it's also terrible, but also very dynamic and interesting time in which we're all being asked to step up in various ways. Rashmi, I was really appreciating the note you sent across about, it was a while back on this thread about other refugees, right, who are not white.
Yeah.
And I really,
Because there were a lot of Indians.
it's every country. Like everybody, I mean, you know, the majority of the world is not white, but you wouldn't guess it, right? Like majority world, right? And I really appreciated that, Rashmi, that you put that across the thread at the time that you did, because you were absolutely right. There are, I mean, Europe is all freaking out about this right now, but right. It's because these people, you know, it's not even like there's lots of people dying in boats and on things who, you know, buses and trains and who are being denied and blah, 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 because they're not white, but they're also war refugees. So it's always this deepening of our understanding. And you can see it in the journalism, right? Like you still, so we always have to kind of challenge ourselves to keep going, get better. I don't know. You guys know this. We all know this. We all know this.
But it's also
It was sad to see that, you know, a lot of journalists covering the war were referring to people like this, and that was sad. I mean, either they were not sensitized about it, or it was just out of emotion, but then it just shows to, I mean, I don't know what.
It shows that like people, like a lot of the people who are reporting are white and from, right? And so it's just not registering for them. It's registering for them in a different way. And it's not that it shouldn't register and that it's not horrible what's happening in the Ukraine. It's just that, no, you're absolutely right. It's like super important. I was really happy that you felt you could say that. And I just wanted you to know I really heard it. And I think a lot of journalists, we have to kind of, as we're going through and talking about this, go beyond our own comfort level of, you know, just freaking out. It's a funny one. It's a funny one. We have to keep kind of holding our nerve and remembering. And by the way, on a totally separate note, the first thing I heard this morning when I woke up, when I got onto the Zoom was chicken, chicken, chicken in cat language. Where's our chicken, mommy? Chicken. It's very cute.
Actually, he usually wants treat, but sometimes he doesn't know how to use the cat toy.
It was
even
like,
though there's 2 of them.
It sounded like this. It was really cute.
He's got a very sweet voice. He's a very sweet cat, actually.
Anyway, you know, we're always trying to nuance what we do. It requires kind of constant learning, constant thinking about everybody, constantly sort of adjusting as we expand our horizons. I don't know. Somehow drawing's helpful in there. But maybe it's just because we don't have to think about it. So maybe I should stop talking about it now. Like maybe it's like it's because we don't think about it for an hour or 2. Yeah, those pointer, Diana, you might find I can put you in touch with the pointer fellowships. They are interesting. They are really interesting. I'm also getting a little sick of working on these feathers, and I might stop at this point, even though I don't know if they're done, right? Like these particular feathers, I'm like, all right, I've gotten some stuff in here. Right. So I might leave them at this point with an idea that I may come back. So this is another really great, like, right, way of thinking about working, right? It's like, it's almost like I'm like, okay, I'm freaking bored with, like, I'm getting too stuck here, right? Like I'm not feeling like I can get them to look the way I want. It's very often the things that are around it that will help kind of blow it open. So I'm going to stop working on the feathers. You are welcome to keep working on the feathers if that is working for you. But I am like, and I'm going to get up and get a cup of coffee, and then I'm going to come back, which is also my way of like dealing with things. And I'm going to start working on these bigger feathers, right? The colors that are on these bigger feathers around here. So process, sick of working on this. I'm going to move around, right? I'm actually just literally not going to think about it for a while. Then I'm going to come back and see how much do I really need to do. It might just, right? Maybe it's everything's so related to everything else. I'm going to eventually, of course, also come back and work on the eyes here, but I'm going to do a little bit of feather work. So hang on, but my first valve is to get up, step away from it, and make another cup of coffee. So that is a strategy that you're allowed to, that is absolutely a strategy that you're allowed to employ. Done with this, need a break. I'll be right back. Okay, so just to clarify, does everybody get that technique? The official word of that technique is don't get stuck in one area too long, work around the canvas. The corollary to that is I am sick of working on this area. I'm going to work on another area for a while. That's the that's the real clue that you're ready to go in there. Oh my God, that's so funny. Oh, Rashmi, that's coming along nicely.
Oh,
yeah.
actually. Shall I just hold it up or send you a photo?
Send a photo, please.
Okay.
Rashmi, that's looking great. Just keep on.
Thank you.
Are you sick of working on the feathers yet? You can totally work on, so I'm working on these big feathers.
Yeah.
You might want to do that too. I'm finding this is really like kind of cadmium red. And then there's a bit of, I'm going to try a little bit of my ultramarine blue and my cobalt teal. Is that bright enough? Sandra, for some reason, it's taking a long time for mine to come through. Well, anyway, it'll get here. No worries. Right here is a kind of blue.
I think you have it. No.
Mine is not, it's not come through yet, but it will.
Oh.
I'm doing my dark. Right, let's see. I'm kind of going back and forth between my little flat and this one. My little flat and my meeny miny. Oh, Anik, yep. Oh, interesting, Anik. I like the ochre.
Yeah, I just
So-
wanted to risk. So
Yeah, and I like it, right? And if you like it, keep it.
I
right?
think I will. I'm not
Right?
sure
Like keep it. It doesn't have to be the same colors. We're just like kind of finding a value is more important than color,
Mhm.
the actual exact colors.
Because this color that we have in a peacock picture, it's more like pinkish.
Yeah, it's a little pinkish, but remember that's like a photocopy of a blah, 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 right? Everything's always changing anyway. But you can do, I think you can do whatever you want, as long as it looks good and you like it. So you see how I'm kind of brushing around.
Peacock has yellow in those patterns, right? I
What's
think it's
that?
yellow. I'm saying a real peacock will have yellow in that pattern, right?
A
The
little
pattern
yellow. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Otherwise, they're a fake peacock.
There's some white peacock.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
that's
Pretty
that
tremendous.
Kung Fu Panda had that villain, no? That was a white peacock. Yes.
Kung Fu
Yeah.
Panda. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it. Kung Fu Panda.
Would you like to see my mom's garden in May?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, please. Are you staying there?
No, and we'll probably go somewhere in more like August or something.
So you're going to show us photographs.
This is where the cats
Yes, please.
live, right? Where the cats live outside and everybody takes care of them.
Nope. That's my mom's
Oh, that's
garden,
gorgeous.
not the garden that is next to my building.
Oh,
Is
wow.
is
it
the
close to the sea
proper-
or?
No, it's close to the river in the forest.
Oh,
Actually,
it
it's-
looks beautiful. Is this
beautiful.
where you grew up, Anik, or
Yeah.
is this?
Yes, exactly. On the left side, when you look at the photo, there is a little stream and then basically meadows and the rest of the village. Because it's like in the center, but in the end. On the right side, there is old German cemetery
Wow.
that I also grew up on.
Right.
So good.
Wow. It's amazing.
Like fully pinky violet in the blossom.
This is like the painting that you gave to your parents.
Yeah,
Close.
exactly.
Do you
Just
still have a
my-
picture of that? Can you send that across the thread? You guys remember this?
I mean, it's from the last year, so the one know this bells flowers, like
Yeah.
but
So beautiful.
those are one of my favorite flowers, and my mom has a buttload of those in the garden of various type, from white till very dark violet. So this is a classic May in Poland.
Nice.
But if I have the picture, that's a good question.
I like those enhanced colors you're adding now.
What,
Yeah.
mine?
Yeah,
Mine?
when you're
Yeah, I'm kind of, I wanted a little bit, I felt like everything was a little too muddy. So I was like, all right, we need to get a little bit, so I'm using a little bit more red. And I decided also to just go around and add the same color everywhere,
Yeah.
you know, where it is. So So I'm not going back and forth between dark and red. Yeah, I like it too. And notice this is kind of a pink. It's cadmium red with white, kind of an
Yeah,
orangey
it's
white.
nice.
But it, because we've got this green down, I think it's looking, thank you for noticing, Diane. Appreciate that. Yeah, so I'm just putting those, they're still subtle, right? It's still kind of pushed back. There's still a little green. What I'm gonna do. And even though part of this feather is covered up, I'm still gonna put it everywhere because somewhere you can see it a little bit behind. So this is another good way of kind of keeping moving around the painting, right? Because you're kind of forced to. Oh, Anik, that's just gorgeous.
Yeah, those are basically flowers that I wanted to ask you about.
Yes, tell me.
How to paint it.
So do you
They
guys see
seem
it? These are
very-
the ones. Look at what a good job she did.
The last
Look at
one
what
is the painting from the how it looked last year. It's more or less the same shot as the first photo.
Yeah, can you guys
And my
see that? She
question-
just sent it as, yeah.
And my question is about the second photo I shared. So basically those
Yes, I
bell-like
can see it.
flowers.
Wow.
I'm not sure.
This is
So I almost want to crop this.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
This is in
Yeah.
pastel.
I almost
What is the
wanna-
medium? Watercolor or pastels?
This the painting is
Acrylic, right?
acrylic.
Yeah,
Wow.
nice,
I feel
right?
like blowing on that flower. So
Right?
beautiful.
She got it. We had a lot of conversation about that. Do you remember how you
Yes.
fixed that one, Ani? How you
Oh,
got that?
wow.
Glazing,
Beautiful.
glazing.
Glazing. The answer is always glazing.
But
Yeah.
sometimes it does what happened to you today, right? That it kind of dulls things.
Well, yeah, but then you just glazing, yes, but like then it does, that's not a problem. That's just, I want to get to my background faster. I wouldn't call that a problem though. Yes, but I love it. I don't know. I wonder about but I don't really, yeah, I see your point. So, you're gonna do groups, Anik.
Mm-hmm.
Groups, organize the flowers together that are in the front as one group. And then organize the flowers that are further back in different groups. And then you will deal with the flowers that are in front with more detail and less as you go back. So if you can do that, that would be my suggestion for handling that without losing your mind too much, right?
Because in nature, those have quite complicated structure as such. They are wonderful.
Exactly.
They're just beautiful, and the shades of the purple, blue, pink they get, just marvelous.
Right.
Honestly,
So I would
think I
just
will
work
just
on it.
try
I would
with
just,
part of it.
yeah, just pick the ones that are in front where you can see the most dark and light detail. And that's what you'll focus on, and then and group them that way. So I would actually just kind of draw you know what I mean? Draw a little circle around all of them.
Like we did with daisies, simply.
Yeah, like we did with the daisies. And then you'll kind of work the edges outward and then go and then see what you need, what's left to do. And so, yes, I'm already liking, but it's definitely not done. Don't tell me we're going to need a third. No. Here. I just added my darks. Now I'm going to come back in. I'm mixing like turquoise. Actually, I'm mixing a bunch of blues to get the blue that I around it, the lighter blue. Right here, it actually kind of goes around here. It's funny, it's different with different feathers. So the feathers must kind of grow at different kind of light cycles. There's a lot more blue here. maybe I've lost a little bit of my dark and I may have to go back in and reshape it, but so see how I'm kind of building up and moving around. Once again, this is a sanity saving device that is purely to save your sanity, but also to kind of work around to quit getting stuck in one place. To get stuck in one place. So it's not, I think the left brain person or the person functioning in left brain is like, I'm going to work on this area till I finish it. Then I'm going to go to the next area. But that's not really the best. Oops. I just need on that. That's not really the best way to paint. The best way to paint is I'm going to work this area for a while, then I'm going to come over and work this area, right? Oh yeah, these are starting to look nice. So I'm just kind of moving around and adding.
I guess what you're saying is not only about sanity, it's about also perspective somehow, the bigger picture of the.
We have to keep going. And it's kind of, we have to continue returning to the whole picture. And that is not a left brain specialty. Left brain likes to zero in and figure out what's going on and get a solution and move on to the next thing. Sometimes that's helpful and sometimes not. Let's see, how much time do we have? God. Oh my God, we got 40 minutes. We can do it. Just get as far as you can. If you want to, before we
I haven't touched my brush, but it's nice to be with you.
It's nice to have you with us, Diana.
Points.
Hang in there.
I am.
Yeah, I know, you're a trooper. You're a trooper. The press club is lucky to have you.
It's shaping up. It's shaping up. We confirmed we have Tiffany Haddish now coming in as presenter as well.
Excellent.
So
That's cool.
it's shaping up. But you know, like with anything that has to do with journalists, it's everyone are last minute.
Right. Everything's last minute. Oh, Sandra, that's just looking so great.
I'm just brightening it up.
Yeah, and if you want to, you can add a little like gouache, white gouache in a couple places, just to light, right? Well, maybe like right under here, maybe
right
a little
where?
bit over. A little bit over. I'm pointing. On this side, because right now they're kind of equal, right? You have.
I'm lightening them up, but with a light green.
Okay, yeah, either way.
Yeah, because it was.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really fantastic.
Working. Thank you.
Fantastic. You guys are doing great. I feel like everybody's really starting to find their groove, and that makes me, of course, exceptionally happy. And then I really know when you start producing paintings that don't look like mine or don't, you're all producing paintings. Actually, you've never really produced paintings that look like mine. You produce paintings that look like yours. And I really enjoy that. That's like a really fun part of the process. You then kind of know, oh, I've succeeded.
Yeah, can I have completely unrelated question?
Yes.
and it's even not my it is my curiosity, but it's more my husband's curiosity, because my husband is kind of a foodie. He
Yeah.
likes cooking. He likes eating, and he likes food show.
Well, he is
shows about
Italian,
food.
of course. He's a foodie. He's born into it.
Kind of totally. So he was watching Somebody Feed the Phil. It's the show on Netflix with the Phil Rosenthal, who is but everybody loves Raymond and stuff. So and the guy is now traveling the world and just basically talking about places and food.
Right.
And somehow my husband basically fell in love with the show because of the pure joy of eating. And the last episode that we were watching was about Portland, Oregon.
Oh yeah, tell me.
Yeah.
Talk to me. Yeah, we are
So-
into our food out here, particularly if you can add bacon to it.
Really?
Yeah,
So that's
bacon is
something
our
for
thing.
my-
Bacon,
for
cured
my
meat is our
husband.
I
thing.
hope you don't use crates for kids.
No, actually, that's really anti like Portland. You have to know exactly. Have you ever seen the Portlandia episode where the
Yeah.
waitress comes to the table and she's like, and the people are like, so I'd really like to know like where you get your chicken. And the waitress like puts a dossier. I mean, were they happy? The waitress puts a file
Yes.
folder out.
Yes.
Yes, this is your chicken, Gerald. Here's where he lived. Here's like what his like.
That's the one.
It goes
That's the
on
one.
and on, and they're like, but I mean, really, why was the chicken happy? And of course, it ends up with Fred Armisen and Carrie Brownstein going to the chicken farm and joining the cult of like one man, many women. They both end up married to him along with everybody else. Like they're like, let's go see the farm where the chicken is. Like they go. That's
We have to
Portland.
chicken.
That is
Oh,
Portland.
good.
I mean, it's, you know, it's not all Portland is, but it is definitely the into that. So what was your question, Anik? I'm sorry.
Basically, my husband wanted to ask if it's really so as good as it looks like.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's
Because he
super
was
good as it
fascinated
looks
by
like.
all those eating out,
The
dining
food
areas,
courts.
food
Yeah.
courts, and all those things.
Oh yeah, it's that good. Tell him he's gonna need to come here with you guys and find out.
Yes.
That's the thing. That's basically this dream was seeded, and
Right. Well, you're welcome. You can stay with us if you get out. If you can make it out here, you can stay with us. I'm telling you, yeah, food here is fantastic. It's like my absolute, I mean, and it's it's kind of, what they don't do very well, that's not entirely true. Certain kinds of Asian cuisine, they do really well. There's a few restaurants that do fantastic, like fusion food, where it's Asian, like fused with something else. If you're looking for traditional classic Chinese, it's hard to get good stuff. But like it's an incredibly inventive. Yeah, it's as good as, tell them it's as good as it looks.
Thank you for confirmation.
Yes.
Really. Definitely Portland is on the bucket list, and now even
yes,
more so.
Come. Any
Now
of
it's the menu,
you,
but-
come. Then you can go to LA and stay at Diana's ranch and like come pick fruit off the apple tree, off the trees, and just like come. It's its whole own experience, you know.
Have you ever been to the States, Anik?
Yeah.
Nope, unfortunately.
Oh my
never.
God, you'd really love it. I
There's
think
some
you'd
good.
really
I
love
mean,
it.
you hear about all the bad things, but there's some very good things.
There's just like any place, right?
Fun thing is that when I was a kid, my parents were barely making it to the from first to first, as we are saying.
Right.
Here. So honestly, traveling wasn't a thing. So I went first time abroad when I was already adult person, 20 years old. Even completely excited, but I had to learn a little bit how to also tame this excitement.
Right.
In a hard way, but in general, I never made I mean, for a long time, I've been just visiting Europe. So I lived in Prague for a while, where I met my husband, and then a little bit Italy, a little bit Spain. So outside of Europe, I just went right before pandemic to Bangalore. So
Ooh.
that was my first time outside
Did
of
you
Europe.
work?
And
Yeah, I
Did you
met
work?
Anik at that time. Yeah, I met her.
Oh, you
The
did?
whole team came.
Oh,
Yes, yes.
fantastic.
Thomas and everyone came. Yes.
Oh my God. how
They got
magical.
chocolates for us, I remember.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh my God. This is what I love about this class more than anything else. I try to explain to people, oh my God, yeah, you get to hang out with people from everywhere. And when I say hang out, I mean, really, you're hanging out. Like you're not, it's so fun. Oh my God. Life goals.
And honestly, I really don't think I would make it through the pandemic without this trip to Bangalore. And this is because of the fact that was the first time in more than 3 years that I slept through the night in a hotel in Bangalore.
That's
Not bothered
because you
by
were happy.
little kid.
Right, right. Not bothered by a little kid and you were happy.
No,
Was it just
right.
purely for, was it purely for pleasure or did you check in?
No, it was work.
It was
No,
work.
no,
I was
came
at
for
work,
training.
but
Yeah.
I mean, I was working during the day, but then, coming to the hotel, I don't have to cook, I don't have to clean, I don't have to run after a little beast. And
So is it gorgeous? Is it as gorgeous as
Ah.
Rashmi's pictures make it seem?
Bangalore is
Yeah.
amazing.
Even
It's
more, I'm betting.
honestly was kind of confusing for me at the same time, because I just landed. It was midnight, or actually it was 2 in the morning when we finally got out of the airport with my colleague. And I was just standing in front of the door to the airport, the big door to the airport, and waiting for the taxi driver from the hotel. And I was like, my brain is completely confused. Am I in Naples or where am I?
Right.
You in where? Naples?
In Naples. Yes,
Really?
because the smell, the basically the heat that was hitting my face, the consistency of the air was exactly like in airport of Naples.
Magic.
Oh.
There was
How
just no
interesting.
volcano. That
How
was the only thing
interesting.
missing. Because and honestly, everyone is like, oh, maybe the chaos in the streets or whatever. It's something so familiar to me. I felt like home, honestly.
Oh,
Wonderful.
that's
I want to go back.
wonderful.
Come,
Yeah, I
come,
want to
you
go
stay
so
in my
bad
You
place.
could get a
too.
whole posting there if you wanted to.
You can this time stay at my place. I love cooking and I'll feed you all Indian
Yes.
stuff.
Oh my
Thank you,
God, now
Rashmi.
that's the offer of the century. Yes. By the way, you guys might notice that I kind of surreptitiously, after getting my basic colors out on my thing, went back in to work the detail of my birdie. And it didn't take that much, right? I'm using a little brush. I'm adding this shape and that shape, a little bit of lighters on top of darks. And look at now how much that bird is kind of coming out. So I'm still like, all right, how do I want to handle this? I have finally, I am not a big fan of the fan brush, but I did cut my fan brush down and now I like it a lot better. So I'm thinking I might try a few sweeping to try and get a little bit of feathery detail in. I might try a few sweeping marks. That's not the right color. Let's try. There we go. Let's try that. Yeah, it just doesn't paint my brush. I can see kind of little lighter streaks. So I'm now using the edge and I'm kind of liking it a little bit better. I'm not painting everything, but I'm and Sandra, you probably have as much experience on this as anybody else does, because you've already, done it. You start kind of with just a few strokes, right? And then you see, how much do I need to add on? So I'm finding that although I don't really like my fan for
I made
spread
many.
out, yeah.
I'm gonna send it to you now. I think it's almost done. I don't.
And I like the idea that like this kind of lays on top of this background, right? So I can kind of follow along here without pointing. So already these are starting to look kind of nice. I'm doing the lights because I've got this darker background. Yeah, send it over. I mean, it's looking extraordinary, quite frankly.
Well, it's
Sandra.
looking much better than I
Right,
anticipated when you don't.
and it feels less difficult because
I enjoyed it.
we layered it in, right? Like it feels a little bit like you don't have to paint every brush. I'm not painting every, I'm just kind of looking at where the lights are poking out right now and kind of laying those in on top of darks. And then I'm going to go in with some dark. Let's see. So it's just a little bit more, and I kind of like this effect. So maybe that's not exactly what's happening, but I decide, that's really cool. I like this. So I'm kind of adding a few, right, darks in here. I'm adding a few straight lines, which seem to be mostly dark. And then there's a few where the underside of the feather is dark and the other side is light. So I don't have to do as much detail as I think. And I think that's what makes it. And I actually expect you all to do different things, like as you're working along. And then, you're just continuing to work around. I want to stop and take a look. We have 25 minutes. Yes. Geraldine did a great job with your drawing. Sandra, this is so fun. It's really great. So you see, you just do it in like phases. You just do it in phases.
Do I need to do something else to the background? Maybe brighten up with some yellow, or just let it go?
In spots, right? Like
Okay.
I'm actually working that right now. So I've added in and as usual, I'm kind of focused on the edges as always, right? So I'm kind of like going along where I see a light edge meeting a dark edge. I'm kind of experimenting with how this might look, almost like a little stained glass effect. Maybe I'll get rid of some of it, or maybe, see how I've already added some feather streaks, so to go in and add little bits of more white in places. Maybe that works. Maybe I brush it off. Maybe I go back in with a little bit more dark. So it's kind of a back and forth thing. I can now add, darker layers in. Right? I can add stuff going this way, back over the white. So there's little bits of white, but they're not too. I mean, I don't know. I kind of like some of these little bits of. Hermes, what? Oh my God, this is so funny. I'll show you guys this picture. By the way, Rashmi, I'm coming to you. So I'm taking that serious. I'm gonna show up and get Bangalore. I want to see it.
Please come.
So check this out. Oh, I definitely plan. Check this out. This is like interesting. So Hermes is like right here, and Mabel is looking at him like, I just don't know about you. Hermes is like, I'm gonna sit in the chair next to you and bother you because I can't help it. Yeah, now I'm starting to have fun with this too. So I have this darker background. So with acrylic, you've got the luxury of having this darker background and then starting to lay, right, whitish, yellow, green. You've got all these different colors on your plate. And you don't have to do everyone because you don't need everyone. You just need enough to kind of keep direction. You do a bit want to pay attention to the direction that the feathers are going. I'm noticing I can only do about 2 or 3 sweeps before I need to go back and add more. I'm like, okay, here I want to add a little bit more. So you see, I'm kind of going, I have options for how I want to do this. I can see that right here, there's a little bit of white by his neck. And so I'm adding that in. I'm really literally looking at how little is the, I'm kind of going around the edge of the peacock to see, oh, okay. Kind of adding some white in here. And then a sort of darker green down like that. Right, and then maybe a darker blue. I'm kind of going back and forth between white. I noticed that a lot of the white feathers have a little dark underside. So as I have a really particularly light one, I'm like, oh, I can totally put that in there. I kind of get up a little bit. I'm just cleaning up the edge. So you see how it doesn't have to be everything. And I can decide, do I want that light or dark? Do I want to make this a little bit? I could add in a little bit of light here like that. That might just be enough.
He's trying to be simple, Hermes.
What? Oh, isn't he? He's like all trying to be like, I am. And she's sort of on the edge.
We're going to make friends.
Well, he tries, but he's sort of he's like, the cats don't really like him. They find him annoying. Like other cats find him annoying. He's really a very people-oriented cat. Like he runs to every person and wants to play with them. He tries to play with the cats, but Mabel and Muka are just like, you are
It's
annoying.
just young. It's an energy thing. It
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
He's trying too hard.
He's trying too hard. Exactly. He's so funny.
His heart is in a good place.
His heart is in the right place. He is a sweetheart. And he's an extraordinarily happy cat, which I think is, whoops. He's an extraordinarily happy cat, which I think is really neat. How happy he is. He's just like, oh, okay, all right, okay, go
Sandra, your peacock is beautiful.
It really is.
I'm peeling off the edges.
Oh, the big reveal.
Unfortunately, this paper, which I love because of the size, it's 10 by 10. It's Stonehenge. The tape tears it up a bit.
Ah, yeah.
Really annoying. But they can't make proper paper. But the the French ones, Arch, it's 7 by 7 or 12 by 12. 12 by 12, I find a bit big.
Yeah, I like
agree with you. And it's perfect portrait size for me.
Right, and you can easily pop it into, I agree with you.
I don't like to do very big things. I guess maybe it's a confidence thing.
No, I don't know. I think you like to work very detailed. So quite frankly, smaller is better for that. Working detail big is like terrible. It's like, and it's funny, working that size is another thing. It's another way to push yourself because size, when you go up or down a size, it really changes the kind of what you need to do, the problem solving you need to do. So that's an interesting thing to toy with as well. If you're wanting to challenge yourself and you're feeling like, I'm getting a little bit too, I don't know, dull or whatever, change your size, go up or down. And then there's an interesting, because you know what works for a 8 by 10 or a 10 by 10 or a 9/12 or a 20 by 30 centimeters is not the same thing as what works for. It does not, it's not the same when you go bigger. Different solutions kind of require. You see, I'm kind of going back and forth between light and dark.
Did you have a final version? Well,
Yes,
I'm pretty
please.
happy with how it came out.
Good.
Complicated animal.
Well, I knew you were. So now you know, Sandra, when your left brain goes, oh no, to just ignore it.
I feel the same about zebras.
Yeah, I've never actually painted a zebra. I gotta tell you, that's pretty.
Figured I'd get bored with all the stripes. Maybe I
Yeah.
could just.
I might be able to find a zebra that's not got too much, right? So we can kind of like this, where we can practice.
Maybe
it's
if we
not-
just do a head and then not much
Yeah,
body.
that's what I was thinking. That might be kind of neat. Also, a friend of mine who has a farm in Scotland has turkeys, and she sent me some fantastic
cool.
turkey photos.
No.
Really great ones.
But that's very similar to a peacock.
Yes.
From Turkey, I just read a news that Turkey has changed its name officially.
Oh, really?
Now it's going, yeah, because they don't want to be confused with the name of that bird, turkey, because
right.
it has a so now it's Turkey.
Turkey.
So,
How do you
so in
spell-
Hindi, it's the same spelling, but you just like, I think it's Keye. So in
Nice.
Hindi we call it Turkey only, but so yeah, so they're making it Turkey. Yeah.
Turkey.
Unfortunately, Leah, I'm
Yeah.
looking at zebras, and they also got, look, they also have, let me turn around. They also have stripes on the face. Look,
Could be really exhausting. All right, let me see
Look
what I
at
can
this.
find. Yeah, that's a lot. If we do a zebra, it will be, maybe we should just do a horse face.
Oh, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because horse
That would be
faces are
lovely.
a whole thing. It's a whole thing. I warn you.
you know, but I love these kind of Mongolian horses, you know, with a black
Horses
mane.
are fun.
Yeah.
Yes, but challenging, right, Diana? So you got to be
Yeah.
ready.
I mean, I actually don't find horses so difficult.
All right, let's try horse.
I
face
don't
now.
know why. I don't know why. I guess I have a good relationship to horses.
An
Or I do
affinity.
too, but not painting them.
Yeah. No, I think they have distinguished features, so it's pretty.
I like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have a lot of structure.
Yeah, they do.
Can you see?
Is that a donkey?
No, it's a Mongolian horse, one of his
Oh, the
steps. You
Mongolian
must have seen him
horse.
in Mongolia. I love this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Mongolia. So great. That's one of those.
I love that
places.
look, which you see in Chinese paintings, right?
Yes.
I love that. With a spiky mane, dark spiky mane, and big bellies. As opposed to thoroughbreds, you know.
If it's not my phone, it's my dog that's playing with a toy.
Well, we're don't you worry, we're in good shape. It's not bothering me. So it's not bothering any of us. So yeah, now I'm just kind of moving around. Kind of adding strokes here or there, trying to decide but you can see I actually haven't added that much detail. I'm now going back to my bird and getting in some more whites in key places to really help him stand out.
sun.
Squeak, squeak, squeak.
Wet.
How's Zoe doing?
Oh, she's fine. Naughty as ever.
Naughty.
She sits by my table when I'm painting. So yeah.
Oh, that's
And
really
she
nice.
likes it, right? She kind of is
Yeah.
into it, right?
I'm sure
Yep.
she likes
Yeah.
the kind of calmness you get into.
Yeah.
Except when one is losing their mind over all the feathers you have to paint, or like, people are like, I remember somebody coming up to me when I did these workshops at journalism conferences. I remember one woman coming up to me and saying, is it like this? I have this little app where I can draw, I forget what she said. She was like, I have this app where I can just draw circles, you know, on my app. And I'm like, it's absolutely not like that. You will be annoyed and irritated at some point during your drawing experience.
But-
it is not like, but it's worth
more-
it.
Much more
Yeah.
fulfilling than circles.
Yeah. It's not a, yeah. I was like, nope, that is not what it's like. However, I've now found a new response to people who say I can't draw, and that is, can you handwrite letters on paper with a pencil? And they're all like, yes. And I'm like, well, then you can draw. It's the same thing, same skill. That's the skill. You just haven't like had to, you know, exercise it in a while. There we go. I don't know. I kind of like it sort of loose like this. I think there might be one or two more things I'm going to do to it. I even like these little edges here, you know, where things are kind of unfinished. For me, that's, or that you can see some of the red popping through. So it's just a question at this point of how long you want to go back and forth with it. I really like it. What a fun assignment. And everybody can kind of make their own like ideas about it. So we've got about 10 minutes left. I'm going to send a picture of mine over. If you think you're done, or just send it over. Oh, Ani Rashmi, these are beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. You might, Rashmi, want to go a little bit lighter, do a kind of little lighter layer over here and the sort of light bits, just to like emphasize them and push back the black lines a little bit, right? Which can be too dominant when we first lay them down.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, Onyx, so great. Love it.
Thank you. I just need to finish a little bit the
Yeah, with the feathers and the
and the right side mostly.
yeah, the right side. It looks great though. Look at how great. What I think what's encouraging about this subject is how great it look, how much better it looks at every layer, right? So by the time you get to the really frustrating parts, you're done. Oh, these look so great, you guys. Go ahead and work on them a little bit more and send it in when you want to be. You might be kind of done working on it for a while, but if you want to work on it some more, send it in when you feel like you're done. And next week we'll do a horse. I think that's a good practice. Probably a horse face. Horse bodies are a separate thing, but we'll start with the horse.
Oh, I missed.
Oh, we're just gonna do horses. We're gonna like, I'm just inviting people to like finish these at their leisure. I'm not sure I'm gonna do anything else to mine.
Oh,
I
it's
might,
great.
but it's like, look at how loose it is
I
in
love
like
Rashmi.
certain areas.
So
Yeah,
bright.
everybody's done good jobs. They look really great. I love that bright green, Rashmi. It's very beautiful.
Nice and bright.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, it's a beautiful call. Did you guys enjoy this subject?
Actually, strange enough, yes.
Yeah, isn't it funny? So we
Against
learned
all
something. So Sandra, can you restate it? You said it really well earlier in the class. You learned something. What did we learn about the left brain?
Well, I learned that actually, when you first look at something and it looks like too complicated, that's just the left brain that gets really bored with it, all the details.
Right.
And it almost says like, don't even try it.
Right.
But then once you're in like right brain mode, you lose yourself in the details with pleasure.
Yes. Yes. Such a great way to say it. Yeah, that's a great way. So know that like too much focusing on the detail is not what we want to do, right? At first, we want to start with the easier, bigger shapes. Then we're going to go back to the detail when we're ready for it. When we've laid down some of the darks and lights, we'll see how much detail we actually need. We're kind of going back and forth. Does anybody want to add to that? Do you feel like that's what you got? Any other thoughts on what we learned from this painting? Oh, I guess we're all good. We're just wiped out.
I'm back for 1 minute again.
All right, well, we're just finishing up. So
great to see everybody at work.
Good to see you, Diana, and hopefully you can pop in for a little bit tomorrow too.
Yeah.
And what are we doing tomorrow?
I don't know. I have to remember what I said. Do you remember what I said we were going to do tomorrow?
What did we do last time?
We did